Hello students, this is Mr. Heath, and the topic we're going to go over today is just an introduction to the coordinate plane. A little introduction to it, how it works, what it's laid out, the different quadrants, and how to maneuver on the coordinate plane. Coordinate plane is like a really important topic, not only to mathematics, but just to life, because any flat thing, in a sense, has a coordinate plane, particularly like in electronics, whatever, but we'll leave that topic alone. So let's go over here. What I'm laying right now will be referred to as our y-axis. All right. So there's our y-axis. The y-axis, as you can see, is a vertical line. It goes up and down. When you're talking about vertical, think about when you want to check out a player's vert, how tall they can jump up into the air. So up and down is your y-axis, also known as your vertical axis. We'll go over here. And this is your x-axis. Your x-axis, or your horizontal, like horizontal, think about the horizon, which runs flat left to right. So your horizontal line here, and this is your x-axis. This is commonly known as your input and your output later on, but don't worry about that. One interesting that you'll realize is that the y-axis is an extension of the x-axis, which is really an extension of the what? You guessed it, the number line that you've been working on. So as opposed to having a 0 point that stands out and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to stop at 8. And we'll go over here. Just like on the number line that you've been using right now in terms of working with integers, same thing here. So we'll go -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, and -8. So notice that same number line that you've been using when you did something like, let's say, -1, -1. You go, okay, I'm here. That's one negative. That's another negative. Oh, the answer is -2. It's the same thing here. Now, of course, this is going to operate different because this is sort of one dimension, and now we're adding sort of another dimension, a height or whatever. So then we'll just take from that 0 point that we have here, and we expand out. We'll go here, and we'll go here. So voila, you have your x-axis, aka the number line that you've been using, and then your y-axis, which is just an extension of the number line. Notice, as opposed to going like we've been doing here, we go and we turn this around. Notice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I want to keep all the numbers the same on every number line, so we'll go there. So now I'll go here, and notice here, sort of a turning around as well with this, and going here. And -1. Well, why doesn't it turn around that way? Because most people read easier this way. But you know, if it makes it easier for you, you could go put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see in a sense it's the same extension of this, and we just don't do that in algebra in terms of the coordinate plane. So I'm going to erase that. But you know, if that makes people relate a little better to what I mean when I say I'm turning this around, but yet I go vertical, that's all we're doing here. So once again, we'll go here. So we have -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, and -8. And we have our complete coordinate plane. Now the coordinate plane is interesting because it's broken into quadrants. Wow, I've heard that before, quadricep. Okay, yes, 4. Okay, so 4, just like everything else, the number 1, people may think starts right here, but like your steps, you step into something, that's 1, it starts the same way too. So think of it this way. As you're facing this, let's just say this is you facing forward. Quadrant 1 is going to be here. Quadrant 2 will be here. Quadrant 3 will be here. And the quadrant in front of you is actually known as quadrant 4. So these are Roman numerals. Let me go ahead and change them with the Arabic numerals that we use. But 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is really important to understand this idea that this is not one in front of you, Generally you'll get some questions, but just asking general questions like, what point could be located in quadrant 1? Well, everything's going to be even if you did an x here value. You know also that it would be an even number on the y-axis, so you can see a comma y. And we'll just put a point 1, comma 2. Don't worry about this point here. I just wanted to explain to you how you can understand things in quadrants. Well, everything in quadrant 1 is going to be positive because you can look, number line's positive, number line's positive. Think about this. What quadrant would have all values being negative? If you chose quadrant 3, you're correct, because if you look at the number line here, values are negative. If you look over here, negative. What are the two quadrants that have a mixture of negative and positives that would be put together to make a point? Correct, you are. Quadrant 4. Positive numbers here, integers. Negative integers here as well. We could also go to the quadrant 2. You can see a series of negative integers here, and you have positive integers as well. So generally what happens, I'm going to erase this because by now you should get the idea. Well, let me put this here. I'm going to actually put the digits. So quadrant 4. Quadrant 4. Inside of quadrant 4, all of your x values will be positive and all of your y values will be negative. And we're going to get to you seeing this for real with numbers in a moment, but I just want to go ahead and mark up these other ones. So we'll go here. I'm going to erase this. Quadrant 1. Quadrant 1. All values over here for x will be positive, and all values for y will be positive as well. Excuse me. So let's go over here to quadrant 2. That's a bad 2. Quadrant 2. All your values for your x are going to be negative, and all your values for your y are going to be positive. And if I was to go over to quadrant 3, all my values for my x would be negative, and all my values actually for my y would be negative as well. What does that mean? I'm going to tell you in a moment. I'm going to pause this so we can just make sure the movies will load fast and get right back to continuation of this. So this is video 1 in a series discussing the coordinate plane and sort of different aspects of it to get you ready for Mr. Foxworth's class.